Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Alvin here. For context, this channel is basically just me rambling on things that are happening in Singapore. I'm Singaporean. I'm 40 years old this year, and I collect stuff. I collect figurines. I collect statues. I also run an eBay reselling side business. I do for side incomes, and for this video I kind of want to touch upon uh, a certain aspect of collecting, and in general, since I'm Singaporean, I'm just going to ramble on and talk about the 4 Singapore statue makers, statue companies that are based in Singapore, basically. And if you click on this video, you're most likely interested in the 2 of them, especially the last one, which I'm going to talk about. We are going to go in order of their demise, I guess. Their demise, their slow death. I get it. These are all, in my humble opinion, I'll be very frank with you, because 2 of them are still running about doing their statues, but they are so damn slow. They have not really rectified their wrongs of late, and I believe it's their demise, the Singapore statue makers, aren't worth your while going forward. And that's me coming from a Singaporean who has supported each and every one of them so far. Anyway, let's talk about the first 2, the 2 of them that are actually dead, Imaginarium and HMO Studios. Imaginarium, all these statue makers all started in the year 2000s, 10 years back, 10 years plus back. Somehow, so happened these Singapore statue makers all one by one all tried to do something. And Imaginarium, their first big deal, I believe, was the Devastator statue. The Devastator statue was really not bad. I believe I didn't buy into it because I wasn't a Transformer fan, and I had no idea where to put that beast. And somehow it took so long for it to be made. I'm not sure whether it got made, actually, to be very honest. I believe so. It got shown in so many places, so many events. I got it, the toy events, figurine events, collectible events, and one that the boss was he really was into it. Then somehow it didn't materialize for him. I mean, the company, and it just faltered. It took so long for him to release it, I guess. I believe so. You can correct me if I'm wrong. If you want to name the boss, you can name it in the comments down below. Yeah, that was it. Imaginary just stopped making, and I believe the company Toy and Toys are still around, I guess. I'm not very sure. You can again comment down below. You may know it more better than me. Whether they are doing other things, I'm not very sure myself. Then brings me to the other statue maker, which is HMO Studios. The HMO Studios is one that I was very into. I have 2 of their statues, and I will still most likely keep their statues because it's really done well. It's exquisite, and something that was dear to my heart, because in the early days in my youth, I played Darkstalkers, and of course Street Fighter. Then Darkstalkers came into the scene. Yeah, it's something that I was really into. I was really playing, and then of course the lady fighters were the thing. I collect mainly lady figurines of late. I don't collect as frequent as I do back in the day, but now I'm more likely buying into statues and figurines of ladylike figures. And 2 of which HMO Studios made was Morrigan and Felicia. These 2 are still my mainstay. I will show you some of the footage that I have. The figurines that is prominently displayed in my house, and yeah, it's something that I was really into. I was hoping they will make the other statues from Darkstalkers. Another company took over, which I will touch upon later. But yeah, their lady figures were really a thing. I'm glad I have them, but somehow they just stopped. They just stopped. They just didn't want to make any figures anymore. I believe the owner or the person in charge or the main guy is doing something else now, some artistic thing, and it's a shame. They also stopped, sadly. So yeah, two statue makers. I believe the HMO studio is based in Singapore. Correct me if I'm wrong again. But yeah, the two statue makers just stopped, which brings me to my third statue company, which is Kinetics Kit. I think I don't even know how to pronounce the statue company name. You can pronounce it for me. I don't know how to pronounce it, to be very honest. But the main guy, he's of late, they are trying to rectify a few wrongs. I have two of their statues, one of which is their main one, and I was really interested and really into what were they doing, kinetics, because they were doing, again, fighting lady figurines, and one of which was Mai Xuanai. And this got me intrigued because this figure was in collaboration with another local based artist, Arjem, Stanley Lau Arjem. He was one that was spearheading the artistic form of it, and I was really intrigued. And then at the price point back in the day, at, if I'm not wrong, it's less than $1,000. I can't remember. And yeah, it's really, I mean, the prototype was really not bad. The prototype was really, really not bad. And I was really sold by it. And somehow, when it came out, the eyes weren't perfected well. It was quite badly done, actually. So much so that many collectors were silently protesting against it. I wasn't that really bothered by it, but I understand where they're coming from because it wasn't well received, wasn't done. I mean, it's supposed to be glass eyes, supposed to be open eyes, like very big eyes, and somehow when it came in, I'll show you some pictures of my own. It doesn't show well at all, and sadly, that's the case. So then they announced Chun Li, another lady figure from the line that they are doing, and that one also got me intrigued because again, it's by Arjem. Artistic flow of it, it's really not bad. I'll be frank with you. From the prototype, I was also sold by it and waited very long for it. I mean, partly because of COVID, but every statue manufacturer after COVID was already releasing their product, and yet Kinetics just couldn't release theirs in time. It took well over the release date was, I think, it's 2022. 1 or 2 years after the announcement, and then was supposed to be the due date. And then it took another 2 years to release in full to those who actually ordered. That's the thing. It's quite sad that it took so long. I don't know what's the delay. Maybe the China factories really hate Singapore companies, which will bring me to the last company, sadly. And yeah, if you followed Kinetics, I believe it's not really their wrong, but they could have handled it better. And again, Chun Li is another figure that they themselves also did wrong, that figure. Somehow, why one of the many delays on this statue, this 1/4 statue, it's because of the fact that somehow the direction for their arms is translucent. It's not painted. You can actually shine a light through it and you can see through it. It's not painted. I don't know what they were thinking, and somehow a lot of those initial customers that received it were complaining again. And yeah, it just so happened that they had to rectify it because it's wrong. It's just wrong. it's not the prototype. It doesn't look painted. Statue needs to be painted, especially at that price point. I think it was $900, which I bought into. Luckily, they got released. I received mine last 2-3 months. I didn't really do an unboxing because I just wanted it to be displayed, and I figured that it's not a thing to talk about back in the day. But now, which Kinetics is still doing their thing, they're not dead as per what I would suggest, but they better do better. They got acquired by Mighty Jacks, I think, and they are under the umbrella of Mighty Jacks, and I hope Mighty Jacks can do better. But knowing the Mighty Jacks' own track record, I wouldn't be surprised that it might falter and go by the wayside, this company. But again, this is all my opinion, and yeah, it would be wise to think twice, 3 times, 4 times to pre-order Kinetics statues going forward. Not to say that they won't be around, I guess. Which brings me to the granddaddy of them all, which is XM Studio. And again, XM Studio is one that I supported in their early days, partly because, again, they're a Singapore company. The statues they're making mostly were Marvel and DC comic characters, which I was into back in the day. Now I've stopped collecting. And yeah, it's something that you would realize that for a market in the Asia context, for a company to come up like XM Studio, who did, want to challenge Sideshow, because back in the day, if you wanted a statue or DC or Marvel statue, that you only had, Sideshow Collectibles. And Sideshow Collectibles price point was okay. It was actually cheap, to be very honest, considering the fact that now their price point versus what they have, XM Studio, what they have and other collectibles is there. That's why Sideshow has been so long. It's like 30 years and they're still going strong. XM Studio, again, same thing. The main guy, he is still, they have quite a bit of backing. Let's put it this way. They have quite a strong monetary backing. People are the angel investors, the big investors, even Singapore government. One of their subsidiary is, doing their thing and saving their ass, I guess. Because of late, XM Studio, their big issue, which is a big issue, is the China factories claim they owe them money. I think it's resolved, I guess. I don't know the ins and outs of it. But from a collector point of view, from an XM Studio person who buys and pre-orders, if you're still buying, I've stopped buying already. Partly because the characters, I wasn't really into it. Their female characters wasn't a thing. Their portrait was bad. I tell you frankly, female portraits by XM Studios still isn't up to par. HMO does it very well. Somehow, Sideshow still is doing very well, and XM Studio just it's not cut it. And the price point jumped quite massively from a $1,000 Singapore dollars point of view. They jumped from 1,000 to 1,003 to 1,005 Singapore dollars, by the way. And then God knows how much is it now. I did a run of their statues just to commemorate the space that they have. They actually did a very big studio. It was filmed in November. They're still around, of course. That means they are still around. But the pre-orders that you all have 2, 3 years, 4 years running, I would urge you all to maybe think twice about it, because their silence is deafening. They claim they're going to talk about it. They're going to show what's delayed, what's cancelled, I guess, because this factory that the issue is the Chinese factory just took away their stock, partly because someone somewhere down the supply chain line says that they owe money somehow, somewhere. Don't know who owes money, not to be very honest. So that's the thing. You all might want to realize a loss, I guess. I really don't know. This is a predicament that many collectors will eventually face one way or another. And if you've not faced it before, good for you, because a loss in a pre-order, be it monetary or you just lose the spot to buy the product, is a thing. And you collect. I'm collecting for almost 20 years. I've done videos on, why I stopped collecting, why you should probably sell your collection, because the collection market has shifted quite a bit. And statues is not really the in thing now. So coming back to XM Studio, I would urge you all to think about it. I'm not suggesting anything. I'm suggesting that you take stock of what's going on. Be aware that the Singapore companies of the statue makers, they are going nowhere anytime soon. They aren't doing what they promise. Kinetics and XM Studio are still around. I'll be frank with you, they are still around. I'm not saying that they are dead, but take stock of what's going on. Be aware that you have pre-orders that are in the thousands of dollars. I'll just suggest putting your money elsewhere, because of course the statues. I mean, I'm still buying statues. And not that I'm not. You can tell I've got a master line. This Near Automata, I have been sitting here in my living room. I'm sitting in my living room right now, and this is this piece is gorgeous. I paid like close to 5,000 Singapore dollars for it, and I'll be frank with you, I'm very, very, very interested in the Final Fantasy line that they are pushing out. But the price point is a killer, man. Again, I'm digressing a bit, because the statue market, the statue makers are really pushing the price point. The tax on it, the license that they are buying into, selling to us, it's really bad. It's not cheap. It's not cheap. It hasn't been cheap, but it has gotten way out of whack, the price point, that I realized that probably need to think more about it, because the price point of all the statue makers are just crazy right now. Anyway, that's that from me. XM Studio, Kinetics, be aware, be wary. If you're still buying to them, good for you. Still supporting them, good for you. This is just my take on the matter at hand, as someone who actually buys statues of this nature. And I'm still buying. It's not that I'm not. I'm buying into third party now. Third party ones are, with what my take on it, the price point is, I still will buy licensed statues if the price is right, if it makes sense in my collection. So anyway, thank you for watching. You can comment down below if you're still supporting any of the statue makers, what's your dilemma with them, and yeah, let's have a talking point about it. Take care, everyone. I'll see you around. Bye bye.